The headline in this month's Catholic Leader speaks volumes to us about our own call to mission and the responsibility that sits so powerfully upon our shoulders as people of faith. Emblazoned with a photograph of young people, of uni students, of seminarians and ministry workers, the headline on the front page of the Leader informs us that we are called to share the message of Jesus Christ. Perhaps as we immerse ourselves into this story of the Good Samaritan we share here today, that story of love and care for others that Jesus had told to highlight the point of just who is my neighbour, we still carry within us that very message of the story. Again, we are also called to share the message of Jesus as the Leader informs us. The answer to the question that the religious leader had asked of Jesus that day, who is my neighbour, seems to be quite simple. But as always, with the point of Jesus' words to highlight the action of God's kingdom in the world, there is always a story. It was a story told to enable the religious leader to answer his own question. In contrast to what he may have thought, it was not the people of faith who had responded to the needs of the victim. It was not the priest or the Levite, but rather someone right out of left field. It was this Samaritan, a man who was despised by good-thinking Jewish people, and he would show the way. Even when he was shown up to be the ideal neighbour to the victim lying on the road, even then, that religious leader who asked the question from Israel could not call him by name. But the message was still there for the one who asked the question. Because the one who showed himself to be the good neighbour, the one who would care for those in need, was the one who stopped, gave him his time and his energy and his treasure to give this victim of crime all the opportunity he could to get him back on his feet. This was the essence of the story that Jesus had told. Those who choose to act, those who reach out to offer care and support to others who may be in need, they are the ones that undertake the role of good neighbour to others. There seems to be no command from Jesus about how people are meant to live their lives. No instructions about how to reach out to those who may be in need. Having told his story and having received the response from his audience, Jesus simply said, "Go and do the same yourself." And so we now return to the message of the Catholic Leader. As people of faith, we are indeed called to share the message of Jesus Christ. And the message that flows out of the story of the Good Samaritan is all about love and care and support for people who share our world. Sadly, our land at this time seems to be so tied up with increasing our own wealth and gains in our lives. And so much so that often people profit by the struggles of others who may need support rather than to be penalised by the circumstances of their lives. We only have to read of the plight of the homeless in our towns and cities, not the struggling street people that we see so often, but those young families now living in their cars because of the shortage of housing, or the elderly couples who may be forced from their homes because of the increase in rent. As we listen to these stories of the news each week, the question that was asked of Jesus so long ago still echoes today. Who is my neighbour? There are times perhaps when we are confronted by these stories each week and perhaps frustrated by our inability to do anything about the plight of such people. But we are called to share the message of Jesus Christ by our lives today. And somehow it is important for us to endeavour to reach out to the people who share our world. the people who perhaps may struggle in life at this time due to unfortunate circumstances. They are our neighbours. They are the ones who were at the heart of the story that Jesus had told that day. And as we listen to this story unfold, we hear once again that call and invitation from Jesus to go and do likewise. That's the message that is at the heart of Jesus' call to us as people of faith. But the challenge for us is to find a way to respond to the needs of other people. The Good Samaritan did exactly that for the victim he found on the road. He went out of his way to offer the care that was needed. He offered immediate attention to the injured traveller. And then he provided ongoing care and support from his own resources. This was the actions of someone who saw and then who chose to act. Amazingly, the story that Jesus had told so long ago is still current and just as relevant for us today as we struggle within our world to live in that sense of peace and harmony with one another. There is always conflict that impacts upon so many lives, and there always seems to be people who benefit from the sufferings of others. But that's not the message of Jesus Christ proclaimed for our world today. The message of Jesus Christ is contained within the story he told. It's the story of the Good Samaritan, the one who stopped and chose to act. And it was his actions that Jesus highlighted in the story that he told. This is the message of Jesus Christ for our world today. We know the story. We know the events unfolding. And the message is the same. Go and do likewise.